The floor trembled beneath Commander Kale's boots as the Vithran instructor's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his kind. Earth gravity, he rasped, his 4 eyes gleaming with contempt. 0.98 meters per second squared. A nursery world. How your species survived its own weakness remains the galaxy's greatest mystery. Kale didn't respond. 32 human cadets stood rigid behind him in the training hall of the Galactic Defense Academy, their faces stone. This was day 1. They'd been warned. The instructor, Drill Master Zeveth, circled them like a predator. His exoskeleton scraped against the reinforced floor designed to withstand species from high-gravity worlds. Worlds where atmospheric pressure could crush human bones like dried leaves. You will train here under 2.4 standard gravities. The minimum required for real soldiers. His translator box rendered his clicking speech into flat, emotionless words. Half of you will wash out in the first week. The rest will learn that your homeworld made you soft. Kale watched dust particles settle slowly in the enhanced gravity. Everything felt heavy, his uniform, his breathing, the weight of expectation. Earth had fought for 50 years to earn a seat at this academy. 50 years of proving humanity wasn't just another primitive species playing at civilization. Today's exercise is simple, Zeveth continued. Cross the training ground. Reach the far wall. Do not stop. Do not fall. His mandibles spread wider. Most species complete this in 4 minutes. The record is 2 minutes, 12 seconds, held by a Gorvian since the Academy's founding. Kale glanced at the course. 300 meters of obstacles designed for species stronger, faster, and more durable than humans. Walls twice his height. Gaps that required explosive jumps. Bars suspended over pits filled with shock gel that would stun but not kill. Humans last. Zeveth's pronouncement carried finality. I want your betters to show you what real soldiers look like. The Krakowian cadets went first, hulking masses of corded muscle from a world where gravity pulled 3 times Earth's standard. They lumbered through the course in 3 minutes flat, their heavy footfalls shaking the academy walls. The Scythian contingent followed, serpentine beings who slithered and leaped with disturbing grace. 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Then the Vithrans. Zeveth's own species. Insect nightmares that scuttled across obstacles like the course was designed for them specifically. 2 minutes, 18 seconds. The watching crowd of senior cadets and instructors buzzed with approval. Humans, Zeveth called. Show us your earthborn strength. Kale moved forward. His team fell in behind him without a word. They trained for this back home, but training in 0.98 gravity was nothing like this crushing weight. The first obstacle was a wall. Kale jumped, caught the top edge, pulled himself up. His arms screamed. The 2.4 gravity made everything exponentially harder. Behind him, Cadet Morrison missed her grip and fell. The shock gel caught her with a crackling hiss. 31 humans left. Kale kept moving. The course became a blur of pain and determination. Jump. Climb. Swing. Run. Every movement felt like pushing through water made of lead. 2 more cadets fell. Zeveth's voice cut through the strain. 1 minute, 30 seconds elapsed. You're already slower than the Gorvian record, and you've barely covered half the distance. Kale's vision tunneled. Sweat stung his eyes. The gravity pressed down like a physical hand trying to force him to the ground. Earth gravity. Zeveth continued, his tone dripping with disdain. A paradise for the weak. Your bones hollow. Your muscles atrophied. Your entire evolution a mistake that. The Academy's main entrance groaned open. Every head turned. Queen Sarthis herself entered the training hall, her crystalline form refracting the overhead lights into dancing rainbows. The Supreme Commander of the Galactic Defense Force rarely visited the Academy. When she did, entire curriculum schedules were rearranged to accommodate her presence. Behind her walked a small figure. A human child. No more than 7 years old, dressed in simple civilian clothes that marked her as someone's daughter. Maybe an embassy worker's kid. Maybe a visiting dignitary's family member. She held the Queen's lower appendage with one small hand, looking around with wide-eyed curiosity. The training hall fell absolutely silent. Zevith's mandibles snapped shut mid-sentence. Kale, hanging from an obstacle bar 15 meters off the ground, stared. Protocol demanded he finish the course or drop to the shock gel and admit defeat. But the presence of the Queen herself changed everything. No one moved. No one breathed. Queen Sarthis's voice resonated like crystal chimes. Drill Master Zevith. Continue. We are merely observing. The child pointed at Kale. Why is he hanging there? Training, little one. The Queen replied, her tone softer than Kale had ever heard in the official broadcasts. These soldiers are learning to be strong. He looks tired. Yes. That is the point of training. The child's brow furrowed. The bug man said Earth gravity makes humans weak. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Kale saw Zevith's exoskeleton ripple, a Vithran fear response. Calling the drill master a bug man was technically accurate but diplomatically catastrophic. Calling out his insult to humanity in front of the Queen was worse. Queen Sarthis tilted her crystalline head. Did he now? The child nodded seriously. He said their bones are hollow and their muscles are atrophied. The Queen supplied. That one. He said Earth gravity is for babies. Kale watched Zevith's 4 eyes swivel between the child and the Queen. The drill master's translator box crackled with static, probably from how fast his mandibles were clicking in panic. The Queen's attention fixed on Zevith like a laser. Is this true, drill master? Before Zevith could respond, the child let go of the Queen's appendage and walked toward the training course. Her small shoes made soft tapping sounds on the reinforced floor. Absolutely not. Queen Sarthis commanded. The child must not. Too late. The girl reached up and grabbed the first handhold of the wall Kale had climbed minutes ago. Under 2.4 gravities. At 7 years old. She started to climb. The training ground erupted in shouts. Instructors lunged forward. The Queen's royal guard surged into motion, their weapons powering up with whining charges. The child pulled herself to the top of the wall and stood, looking down at the adults below with innocent confusion. I climbed this at home, she said. It's easy. Kale felt something shift in the air. A fundamental recalculation happening in every non-human mind in the hall. This human child, this 7-year-old raised under Earth's weak gravity, was performing feats that would challenge trained soldiers from moderate gravity worlds. Under 2.4 times her natural environment. Without training. Without effort. She jumped down from the wall, landed in a crouch, and walked back to Queen Sarthis. Can we see the ships now? The Queen's crystalline form pulsed with colors Kale had never seen before. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of absolute authority. Drill Master Zevith. Perhaps you would like to revise your assessment of Earth gravity's effect on human development. Zevith's translator box emitted sounds like grinding gears. The child is clearly an exceptional, the child, the Queen interrupted, is 7 years old. Untrained. Unmodified. A complete baseline human. Her attention swept across the assembled species. If this is what Earth gravity produces in their children, I wonder what their soldiers are truly capable of when properly motivated. Kale felt the gravity shift. Not physically, the training hall's generators maintained their crushing 2.4 standard. But psychologically, suddenly, Earth's .98 didn't seem like a weakness. It seemed like a secret weapon. The Queen gestured toward the course. Commander Kale. You and your team will complete the exercise. The drill master will observe in silence. She looked down at the child. And you, young one, will stay beside me and refrain from giving anyone a heart analog failure. The girl nodded seriously. Kale released the bar he'd been gripping and dropped to the obstacle below. His team reformed around him. Every eye in the academy watched. One more time, he said quietly. For Earth. They moved. This time, there was no mockery. No clicking laughter. Just the sound of human boots on alien metal, moving faster than anyone expected. The course blurred past. Kale's body screamed, but he pushed harder. Behind him, his team matched his pace. They'd trained in Earth's weak gravity. They'd built muscle and bone under conditions these instructors thought made them soft. They'd been training their entire lives under a handicap. And now they were going to show what happened when you took the weights off. Kale hit the final wall with explosive force, pulled himself up, and slammed his palm against the completion sensor. The timer displayed in holographic numerals above the course, 2 minutes, 8 seconds. A new Academy record. Behind him, 28 more humans crossed the finish line. Every single one who'd made it past the first obstacle completed the course. The training hall remained silent. Until the child started clapping. The sound echoed through the massive space, small hands coming together in enthusiastic approval. They did it! They were really fast! Queen Sarthis's crystalline form shifted through a spectrum of contemplative colors. Yes, little one. They certainly were. Her attention fixed on Zeveth. Drill Master. It appears your understanding of Earth gravity's effects may have been incomplete. Zeveth's mandibles clicked rapidly. Your Majesty, I merely followed standard protocol for standard protocol. The Queen interrupted, her voice sharp as breaking glass. Does not include mockery of species under your instruction. Particularly when your mockery is based on fundamental misunderstanding of their biological advantages. Advantages? Zeveth's translator rendered his confusion clearly. Indeed. The Queen moved closer to the Drill Master, her crystalline form towering over his exoskeleton. You assess low gravity as weakness. But consider, a species that evolves under lower gravitational stress can develop more efficient musculature, more refined neural pathways, greater endurance capacity. She gestured toward the exhausted but triumphant human cadets. These soldiers didn't just break your record, Drill Master. They did so after spending their entire lives training under conditions you deemed inadequate. Kale watched the realization spread through the assembled aliens. Murmurs rippled across species. Translators buzzed with rapid conversation. The child tugged on Queen Sarthis's appendage. Does this mean the humans are special? All species are special in their own ways, little one. The Queen replied. But yes. Humans are proving to be very interesting indeed. Zeveth's 4 eyes fixed on Kale. The mockery was gone, replaced by something that looked unsettlingly like respect. Commander. My assessment was premature. It wasn't quite an apology. But coming from a Vithran drill master, it was close enough. Kale straightened despite his screaming muscles. Sir? Permission to speak freely? Granted. Earth gravity didn't make us weak, sir. It made us adaptable. He gestured toward his team. Every human here has trained under one gravity their entire lives. We developed our strength, our tactics, our entire combat philosophy around that single constant. He met each of Zeveth's eyes in turn. Put us in higher gravity, we adapt. Lower gravity, we thrive. Variable gravity, we compensate. That's what Earth taught us, sir. Not weakness. Flexibility. The Queen's crystalline form pulsed with approval. Well said, Commander. She addressed the entire training hall now, her voice carrying to every corner. Let this be a lesson to all instructors and cadets present. Never assume you understand a species' capabilities based solely on their world of origin. Evolution is far more complex than simple gravitational measurements. She turned to leave, the child still holding her appendage. But before she reached the entrance, she paused and looked back at Zeveth. Oh, and Drill Master? Revise your curriculum. I want these humans pushed harder than any previous class. Not because they're weak. Her colors shifted to something that might have been a smile. But because they've just proven they can handle it. Zeveth's mandibles clicked in acknowledgement. Yes, Your Majesty. As the Queen and child departed, the training hall remained frozen. Then, slowly, the other species began to react. Some whispered among themselves. Others stared at the humans with newfound wariness. A few, mostly the ones who'd set earlier records, looked distinctly uncomfortable. Cale felt his team gathering around him. Cadet Morrison, who'd fallen on the first obstacle during the initial run, stood at his shoulder. "Sir, we just painted a target on every human in this academy." "I know. They're going to come at us twice as hard now." "I know. No more dismissive mockery. No more underestimation. They're going to treat us like actual threats." Cale smiled grimly. "Good. That's exactly what we wanted." Zeveth approached, his exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights. "Commander Cale. Your team performed admirably." He paused, mandibles working as if the next words physically pained him. "I have trained 17 species over my career. Never have I seen such rapid adaptation to enhanced gravity conditions." "Thank you, sir." "Do not thank me yet." Zeveth's 4 eyes glittered. "The Queen has commanded I push you harder. I intend to follow that command with extreme precision." He gestured toward the course. "Tomorrow, we train at 3 gravities. Next week 4. By the end of the month, you will either wash out or become the most formidable soldiers this academy has ever produced." One of the human cadets, Thompson, young and still idealistic, stepped forward. "Sir, 4 gravities will kill us." "Perhaps," Zeveth agreed. "Or perhaps you will adapt, as your commander suggests. We shall discover which together." He dismissed them with a sharp click of his mandibles. As the cadets filed out, Cale caught Zeveth watching them with an expression he couldn't quite read. Not contempt. Not quite respect. Something closer to curiosity. Outside the training hall, the human team gathered in a tight cluster. They were still on academy grounds, still surrounded by alien species, but for a moment they had relative privacy. "That was insane," Morrison breathed. "We just rewrote the record books on day 1. We made ourselves famous," Thompson countered. "Famous means visible. Visible means scrutinized. Famous means respected," another cadet added. "No one's going to dismiss humans anymore." Cale listened to them debate, watched the fear and excitement war across their faces. They were right to be afraid. They'd accomplished something remarkable, but they'd also raised the stakes exponentially. A shadow fell across their group. Cale turned to find a Gorvian standing there, one of the hulking masses who'd completed the course in 3 minutes. Up close, Gorvians were even more intimidating. Slabs of muscle wrapped around a frame designed for a world where gravity pulled hard enough to flatten most species. The Gorvian studied Cale for a long moment. Then, slowly, he extended one massive hand. "Warrior recognizes warrior," the Gorvian said in heavily accented standard. "Your species, surprising." Cale gripped the offered hand, felt bones creak under the casual pressure of the Gorvian's grip. "We do our best." "Best is very good." The Gorvian's face split in something that might have been a smile. "Train with my pod tomorrow. We show you Gorvian techniques for high-gravity combat. You show us human flexibility." It was an offer of alliance, rare in the Academy's competitive environment. Cale glanced at his team, saw the barely perceptible nods. "We'd be honored." The Gorvian departed with thunderous footsteps. In his wake, the human cadets exchanged looks of disbelief. "Did that just happen?" Morrison asked. "I think we just made our first alien friends," Thompson replied. "Or our first oops," another cadet muttered. "Could be a setup. Get us to trust them, then crush us in joint exercises." Cale considered it. The political landscape of the Academy was treacherous. Every species jockeyed for position, for prestige, for the limited slots in elite combat units upon graduation. Trust was currency, and currency in the wrong hands could buy betrayal. But they needed allies. Humanity was too new, too untested, to survive alone. "We train with them," Cale decided. "But we watch our backs." The next morning, Cale woke to find his quarter's gravity had been increased to 1.5 standard. A note on his data pad explained that all human quarters would gradually increase gravity to help them acclimate. Courtesy of Drill Master Zevith. Kale smiled darkly. The Vithrin was true to his word about pushing them harder. Training that day was brutal. 3 gravities, as promised. The Gorvian pod joined them, and Kale learned that Gorvian combat techniques relied on using enhanced gravity as a weapon, letting it add force to strikes, using it to pin opponents, making it an ally rather than an enemy. The humans struggled. 2 more cadets washed out, their bodies simply unable to handle the sustained stress. But the rest adapted. Kale watched his team learn to move in 3 gravities with the same determination they'd shown at 2.4. They fell. They failed. They got back up. Always they got back up. Word spread through the academy. The humans who'd broken the record. The child who'd climbed the wall. The species from a weak, gravity world who refused to quit. Other species began to watch their training sessions. Some with respect. Others with resentment. A few with fear. On the 3rd day, a Scythian cadet approached Kale after training. Your team accepts challenges, yes? Kale's exhausted mind struggled to process the question. What kind of challenges? Combat challenges. My pod against yours. Authorized academy duels. The Scythian scales rippled with what might have been eagerness. Prove your record was not luck. It was a trap. Had to be. The Scythians were trained from hatching in combat arts. They'd been part of the Galactic Defense Force for 3 centuries. They knew every trick, every tactic. But refusing would mark humanity as cowards. When? Kale asked. 2 weeks. Gives your team time to prepare. The Scythian's forked tongue flickered. Gives us time to study your techniques. Accepted. The Scythian departed, leaving Kale to wonder if he just made a catastrophic mistake. Morrison found him in the observation deck later, staring out at the stars. Sir, about the Scythian challenge, I know. They're going to destroy us. Probably. Then, why accept? Kale turned to face her. Because if we refuse, every species in this academy will know humans talk big but fold under pressure. If we fight and lose, at least we go down swinging. He paused. And who knows? Maybe we'll surprise them. Like we surprised Zevith? Exactly like that. The 2 weeks passed in a blur of training, strategy sessions, and escalating gravity exposure. Zevith rotated them through 4, 5, even 6 gravities for short periods. Each session left them drained, but each session also built their capacity. The Gorvian pod proved invaluable. They taught the humans how to weaponize gravity, how to make the enhanced weight work for them instead of against them. In return, the humans taught the Gorvians about speed and precision. About using superior reflexes and adaptability to compensate for raw strength differences. It became clear that the Gorvians hadn't offered alliance out of pity. They'd recognized something in humanity worth learning from. The night before the duel, Kale found himself unable to sleep despite the exhaustion. He kept replaying scenarios, imagining tactics, trying to find an angle that would give humans an edge against Scythian combat mastery. A chime at his door interrupted his thoughts. Enter. Drill Master Zevith stepped inside, his exoskeleton scraping against the door frame. Commander. I thought I might find you awake. Couldn't sleep, sir. Understandable. Tomorrow's duel will be watched by the entire academy. Likely by off-world observers as well. Zevith's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. The Queen herself may attend. Kale's stomach dropped. That's not helping, sir. I did not come to help. Zevith moved to the window, staring out at the same stars Kale had been watching earlier. I came to inform you that I have wagered significantly on your team's victory. Sir? The odds are 30 to 1 against you. If you win, I will be quite wealthy. Zevith's 4 eyes swiveled to pin Kale in place. If you lose, I will be quite poor. And quite embarrassed for believing in your species' potential. No pressure then. Immense pressure. Zevith's mandibles spread in what Kale had learned was a Vithran smile. But I have observed your training, Commander. I have seen how your team adapts, compensates, overcomes. The Scythians are skilled, yes. But they are also predictable. They have trained the same way for centuries. He tapped one sharp appendage against the window. You have trained for 2 weeks under conditions that would have killed most species. In that time, you have improved at a rate that defies conventional understanding. We've had good teachers. You have had adequate teachers and exceptional motivation. Zevith turned to leave, paused at the door. One final observation, Commander. The child who climbed the wall? I researched her background. She is the daughter of Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council. Completely unremarkable child by human standards. No special training, no genetic modifications, no performance enhancements. And if that is what your species considers unremarkable. Zevith's translator box crackled with something that might have been admiration. I wonder what you consider extraordinary. After Zevith left, Kale finally managed to sleep. The duel was held in the Academy's main combat arena. Thousands of cadets from dozens of species packed the observation galleries. Holographic feeds broadcast the event across the Galactic Defense Force network. And yes, Queen Sarthis attended, the same human child at her side. Kale led his team into the arena. 26 humans remained, 26 who'd survived the training, who'd adapted to crushing gravities, who'd learned to turn their supposed weakness into strength. Across the arena floor, 30 Scythian cadets assembled in perfect formation. Their scales gleamed under the lights. Their movements were fluid, coordinated, lethal. The arena master's voice boomed through speakers. Standard duel protocols apply. Non-lethal force only. Energy weapons set to stun. Melee weapons safety locked. Victory is achieved when all members of one team are incapacitated or surrender. The gravity generators hummed to life. 2.4 standard gravities descended on the arena like a physical weight. The Scythians barely reacted. They were used to this. The humans settled into ready stances, their bodies adjusted to the pressure after weeks of training. Begin! The Scythians struck first, serpentine bodies blurring across the arena floor. They'd clearly studied human combat techniques, knew to expect speed and precision. But Kale had planned for this. Formation Delta! He shouted. His team scattered, breaking every conventional military formation protocol. No lines, no ranks, no predictable patterns. They moved like water, flowing around obstacles, reforming in unexpected configurations. The Scythians hesitated, just for a moment, thrown by the chaos. That moment was enough. Morrison hit the first Scythian with a precisely aimed stun blast, not where the alien was but where she predicted he would be. Thompson followed up with a melee strike that used the enhanced gravity to add devastating force. The Scythian went down. 29 left. The battle became a chaotic dance. The Scythians were better trained, more experienced, more naturally suited to combat. But the humans were unpredictable, adaptable, refusing to fight the way the Scythians expected. Kale found himself facing 3 Scythians simultaneously. Under normal circumstances, it would be suicide. But these weren't normal circumstances. He dropped low, let gravity help pull him into a slide. The Scythian's attacks whistled over his head. He fired from his back, tagged 2 before momentum carried him past them. Rolled to his feet, blocked the 3rd Scythian's strike, used the alien's own force against him. 3 down. The tide was turning. The humans were falling too. The Scythians were too skilled for this to be a clean sweep. But for every human that went down, 2 Scythians followed. The crowd's murmur grew louder. Kale glimpsed the child in the royal box, jumping up and down with excitement. The queen remained still, but her crystalline form pulsed with colors that suggested intense interest. 15 Scythians remained. 12 humans. The Scythian commander, a scarred veteran with scales that bore the marks of countless training battles, slithered toward Kale. Impressive. But this ends now. He moved faster than Kale had thought possible. Strikes came from impossible angles, each one precisely calculated to overwhelm human reflexes. Kale blocked, dodged, gave ground. The Scythian was right. This couldn't last. The alien was simply too fast, too skilled. But Kale wasn't trying to win this fight alone. Morrison! Thompson! Pattern Omega! They drilled this. Practiced it under 6 gravities until their bones felt like they'd shatter. 3 humans moving as one, creating a web of attacks that forced opponents to choose which threat to defend against. The Scythian commander was good enough to defend against all 3. For about 10 seconds. Then, Morrison's shot clipped his side. Thompson's melee strike followed, and Kale's finishing blows sent the commander crashing to the arena floor. The remaining Scythians fought valiantly, but, without their commander's coordination, they fell one by one. When the last Scythian collapsed, stunned but not seriously injured, the arena fell silent. Then, the Gorvian section erupted in thunderous approval. Other species joined in, some cheering, others simply showing respect for a well-fought battle. The arena master's voice cut through the noise. "Victory to the human cadets!" Kale helped Morrison to her feet. Around them, his team gathered, exhausted and battered but triumphant. They'd lost 14 of their 26, but they'd defeated an elite Scythian combat pod. The child in the royal box was still jumping, her excitement infectious. The queen rose, her crystalline form capturing every eye. "An extraordinary display," she announced, her voice carrying across the arena. "Both teams showed exceptional skill and courage. But the humans have proven something important today." She descended from the royal box, the child following. The crowd parted as she approached the arena floor. "They have proven," she continued, "that adaptation is as valuable as raw strength. That creativity can overcome experience. That a species from a weak gravity world can stand against the galaxy's finest and emerge victorious." She stopped before Kale. "Commander, your performance today has earned humanity something rare, genuine respect. Do not waste it." Kale saluted. "We won't, Your Majesty." The Queen nodded. Then, the child tugged on her appendage. "Can I go talk to them? Please?" The Queen's colors shifted to something that might have been amusement. "Very well." The girl approached Kale with complete fearlessness. "That was amazing. You moved so fast and the snake people didn't know what to do, and then you all worked together and..." She paused for breath. "My name's Emma. What's yours?" "Kale. Commander Kale." "That's a cool name. Are all humans as strong as you?" Kale glanced at his exhausted team, at the Scythians being helped to the medical station, at the thousands of alien eyes watching this exchange. "No," he said honestly. "But we're all learning to be stronger." Emma nodded seriously. "My dad says that's what being human means. Always learning. Always getting better." "Your dad sounds wise. He's the ambassador. He has to be wise. It's his job." She looked around the arena with wide eyes. "Do you think you'll fight more aliens? Maybe next time you could fight the crystal people or the ones with too many arms or..." The Queen gently interrupted. "Emma, perhaps save some excitement for later. These soldiers need to rest." "Okay." Emma waved at Kale. "Good luck with the training. Don't let the bug man work you too hard." As the Queen led Emma away, Kale heard her crystalline laughter echo through the arena. Drill Master Zeveth approached, his mandibles clicking rapidly. 30-1 odds, Commander. You have made me very wealthy. Happy to help, sir. More importantly, you have made humanity very respected." Zeveth's 4 eyes swept across the assembled species. "Tomorrow, the real work begins. Every team in this academy will want to challenge you now. They will study your techniques, devise counters, push you harder than I ever could. We'll be ready. See that you are. The galaxy is watching Earth now. Make sure they see strength." That night, the human cadets celebrated in their quarters. It was subdued, they were too exhausted for anything else, but it was genuine. They'd proven themselves. Not just to the Academy, but to the entire Galactic Defense Force. Kale stood apart, watching his team laugh and share stories from the battle. They'd started as 32 hopefuls from a species nobody respected. They'd been mocked, dismissed, underestimated. And they'd turned that mockery into motivation. A message appeared on his data pad. From Earth Command. Simple, direct. All of Earth is watching. All of Earth is proud. Show them what we're made of. Kale smiled. They'd shown the galaxy plenty already. But Earth was right, this was just the beginning. He thought about Emma climbing that wall without hesitation. About how the galaxy had seen a 7-year-old human child and recalculated everything they thought they knew about Earth gravity's effects. Maybe that was humanity's real weapon. Not strength or speed or superior technology, but the ability to make others question their assumptions. To look weak and turn out to be anything but. The next day, training resumed at 5 gravities. Zeveth pushed them mercilessly, and the humans adapted. Species that had ignored them now watched their every move. The Scythians who'd lost the duel trained alongside them, sharing techniques and learning from each other. Alliances formed. Rivalries intensified. The Academy's political landscape shifted to accommodate the reality that humanity was no longer a joke. Weeks became months. The gravity kept increasing. 6, 7, 8 times Earth's standard. Pressures that should have crushed human bones but, instead, forged them into something harder. Kale watched his team transform. Morrison became a tactical genius, reading opponents like books. Thompson mastered the Gorvian technique of weaponizing gravity itself. The others developed their own specialties, their own techniques that blended human flexibility with alien knowledge. And through it all, they remembered why they were here. Not to prove they were better than other species, but to prove they belonged among them. The Academy's final examination came at the end of their first year. A combined exercise involving every cadet, every species, working together to complete an impossible mission under extreme conditions. Kale's team led a mixed squad of humans, Gorvians, Scythians, and even a few Vithrans. Together, they navigated hostile environments, overcame lethal obstacles, and accomplished objectives that had seemed impossible at the year's start. When they emerged victorious, covered in sweat and glory, the Academy erupted in celebration. Queen Sarthes attended the graduation ceremony. Emma stood beside her, grown slightly taller over the year but still bouncing with irrepressible energy. "Graduating cadets," the Queen announced, "you have proven yourselves worthy of the Galactic Defense Force. You will now take your place among the galaxy's protectors, carrying forward the honor of your species and your training." She paused, her crystalline form shifting to focus on the human contingent. "Especially those who came from worlds others thought would make them weak. You have shown us all that gravity measures only one type of strength. That true warriors are forged not by the weight they're born under, but by the weight they choose to carry." The ceremony concluded with the traditional oath. Kale spoke the words alongside aliens who'd once mocked his species, who'd dismissed Earth as irrelevant. Now they spoke as equals. As soldiers. As defenders of a galaxy that had learned to respect humanity not despite Earth's gravity, but because of what that gravity had taught them. As the newly graduated soldiers dispersed to their assignments, Emma approached Kale one final time. "You did it," she said simply. "You showed them. We all did it together." Kale replied. "Maybe." Emma smiled. "But you started it. You and your team. You made them look at Earth different." She was right. The galaxy did look at Earth differently now. Not as a weak world that had somehow produced space-faring civilization, but as a world that had produced adaptable, resilient, endlessly creative warriors. A world where even children could climb walls under crushing gravity and make it look easy. A world that had finally earned its place among the stars. Kale looked up at those stars, scattered across the night sky of the Academy world. Each one represented a species, a culture, a different way of surviving and thriving in an unforgiving universe. Earth's star was out there too. 0.98 meters per second squared of gravity. A gentle pressure that had taught humanity to be flexible, to adapt, to never accept that limitations were permanent. The Instructor had mocked Earth gravity. had called it weakness. He'd been wrong. And now the whole galaxy knew it.